Hello, everyone. Good morning,
Hello,
good
everyone.
afternoon, good evening, and welcome to another interesting episode today on the Test Chat YouTube channel. And with me is a very special guest, Naveen Khunteta. What can I say to describe him or to talk about him is something that I have been deliberating. He's a teacher, tester, of course. He happens to be my guru, and he's a wonderful friend, a brother, and a lot of things that I can say about him. So, welcome to the show, Naveen. How are you feeling?
Thank you so much for inviting Brajesh. And yeah, I mean, it's always good to be with you in the discussion and all the discussion that we've been doing from last couple of years. And that's great to see your post on LinkedIn and now again back to the same zone. So I'm feeling very special. And yeah, thanks for inviting me for this
Well,
gaming session.
Naveen, the test chat community cannot thank you enough for the kind of support that you've shown them. When we started, you were the first one to host us on your channel. That is how we started our journey, and then we've been having such wonderful discussions. You've been part of our events, be it our anniversary celebration or be it a judge of our testing competition. So you think you can test. So you've been there. You've been a great support. We've had the opportunity to learn from you. I personally have learned so much from not only from your videos, but from the personal interactions that we have had the conversations that we've had. We've had a lot of fun conversations. We have discussed about memes that have been made on me. So we've had some great laughter, great banter. But here we are. We are going to talk about a very serious topic today, and the topic is
Okay.
automation. You can't get more serious than that. And I want
Mhm.
to refer to it as automation in testing and not test automation. Okay, I want to make it more big, more general. Now, I want to start by asking you this. Okay, so we are 4 months into 2023 already, and
Mhm.
we have seen certain things shaping up with respect to automation around the world.
Mhm.
So, do you think we are going in the same direction that you predicted that 2023 would go when,
Mhm.
late 2022, you had some prediction that in 2023, these will be the technologies that will be dominating, and this is how
Mhm.
automation will shape up. Do you think we are going in the same direction, or do you think new things have come up?
Definitely, we are going in the right direction, according to me. But suddenly, from last couple of months, especially from last 4 5 months, once these AI and ChatGPT tools, and we actually predicted, if you remember, that we used to discuss about those things in
Yes.
2020 first quarter and the second quarter, that 2023 will be more on the first of all crypto, blockchain, and the machine learning AI tools will be there. And when we prepared the first video on Copilot and with the GitHub integrations and Visual Studio Code integration. That time, I was like assuming something will happen in the 2023. Closely, looking into these scenarios. That yes, and it's fun now. I think other tools, a lot of tools. Playwright came into the picture. Cypress became is another boom in the industry, and then Playwright is actually a lot of discussions that are happening, and then a lot of conferences happened with respect to Playwright, Cypress, and Selenium. Recently happened with Selenium conferences as well. So a lot of new things, new developments are happening in 2022, 23 initial beginning also that we have seen a couple of new releases and a lot of new things with respect to performance and then other automation areas also that new tools, especially with the codeless and low code automation tool from last 7 8 months. You can see the trend. Lot of tools like you can say test rigger, Excel. There are many tools are there, and AI based tools are there. And then we were always talking about in 2021 that will AI replace something or what is the contribution of AI in the testing. I think that's a very good use case for the in testing for the AI point of view. So yeah, I mean, I think we are going somewhere in the right direction. People, I can see that level of maturity also when I talk to people. Because for me as a teacher, like I almost like daily interacting with a lot of people, and now the kind of maturity people are having in terms of automation, what to do, what not to do. I think now we can see whatever the hard work that we were doing as a teacher. I think now it's paying off. So that's good to know.
Well, that's quite an interesting view that you have, and exactly what we had been talking about. I remember conversations back in 2020 when we started TTC and we were
Hmm.
having conversations around automation. You had sort of foreseen the future, and you had said that these things are going to become big. And then your videos came. You spoke about the Copilot video that you made back in
Yeah.
2021. I think it was when you made that video,
Yeah.
and you had prediction that something big is going to happen. And then in November 2022, when OpenAI announced ChatGPT, you were one of the early adopters of that, and you went and did a lot of experimenting, asked a lot of questions, got a lot of funny answers, but then experimented with code as well. So, so let me ask you this very bluntly: do you think ChatGPT will remove the job of testers?
Okay, see, I'll give you a very honest answer. What's my perception and what's my opinion? The kind of I was very not much sure about up to ChatGPT 1 and 2 and up to 3. But after 3.5 and ChatGPT 4, the kind of the solutions and the answers that ChatGPT is still there are many mistakes and silly mistakes ChatGPT does. 2 plus 2 is equal to 5 or something like this. That
I
I actually
remember that.
I roasted ChatGPT, but that's fine. Obviously, that these are machines. So I'm not saying the ChatGPT will replace testing. Nothing can replace testing or automation. But yes, there will be challenges. You have to raise the bar high, no doubt about it. Because you think about that, it will be so quick for me to integrate with the ChatGPT API in my favorite editor, and then I can generate the tool. For example, any tool, okay, find, okay, do this end-to-end scenario, and then quickly generate a test automation tool for that and write the test cases for that. I'm not saying that it does not require any human intelligence, but the kind of work that we are writing manually and then writing the code over there
Yeah.
and then executing it and writing the unit level test cases, positive, negative test cases. If a tool or artificial intelligence tool is generating certain scenarios, writing boring feature files with the Cucumber or BDD, it is generating, then definitely it is saving a lot of time. So take ChatGPT, AI or ChatGPT as a friend, not as an enemy. I would say that, but it's going to not going to kill everything. That your testing jobs will be vanished, but it is going to be challenging. I'm pretty much sure that okay, the chat kind of maturity I can see in ChatGPT 4. Personally, I have seen it is generating some really complex, and the response is very fast, and the accuracy also it's getting improved because now it's having more than 7 billion data, I guess. So with this thing, I think it will be challenging, but it will be very interesting, and I think we should take AI tools as as a friend, not as an enemy. That's my perception.
Yeah. So if I just summarize your answer in one sentence, AI is here to enhance our abilities as a tester, and not eliminate them. So I think that's a very good view, and I kind of agree with it. You have to take it in a positive way. It will help you. It is not that it is going to be 100% accurate. So you've got to do your analysis, do your additions, modifications to suit your context, to suit your needs. If you are augmenting it to your code, then you will need to
Mhm.
make some changes, not just lift it up from there and then straight away use it. You can't do that.
Exactly.
It's pretty much copying code from Stack Overflow. If you don't make the changes, it's not going to work for you, right?
I tell you
So
one thing. I have one thing I just want to, educate people that don't bluntly say that AI will not do anything. It's not going to impact my job, or it does not have any human intelligence. Obviously, you have to write the code, you have to feel the code, and you are the right person to judge your code. So it's very blunt statement saying that okay, nothing will be replaced. Chat GPT. Today I was seeing some LinkedIn post also. People were talking about Chat GPT cannot do anything and it does not have any human intelligence. It will not replace testing. No, take it in a positive way. It will definitely is going to help you out. And then you think about that it's saving a lot of time. It's saving a lot of manual efforts for you. And then if you are smart enough, if you are matured enough, you understand testing and automation, then it is definitely going to save your task. And the task I was doing in 2 days, definitely I can finish in 3 to 4 hours. And then rest of the things I can improve and I can refactor my code and refactor my test cases as well. So I'm not that stupid. If you saying yourself as a tester, Obviously we are not stupid people, right? We are, obviously we have our own intelligence, we have our own understanding and the a maturity to understand what exactly ChatGPT is giving to me. And then with the time, I'm definitely sure that it will be matured enough. So in fact, I should be against ChatGPT, but I can see, according to my perception, I think we should go with the testing with the ChatGPT. That will help definitely.
So while you mentioned this, I have seen something on the exact opposite end of the spectrum. I saw a post titled RIP testing, and that person
Hmm.
had generated scenarios for a login screen using ChatGPT, and they were UI scenarios and some security scenarios, and said, okay, now that I have this, I don't need testers, so bye bye testers. And I was
Hmm.
like, no, this is such a hollow thing to say, that
Hmm.
testing will be gone or anything like that, because there are still a lot of things missing. Okay, if
Correct.
you just look at the login screen, I mean, just saying, it's not just about that text field of username and password, right? If you talk about login, there is a much more thing going on in the background. You're not talking about, in general, you're not at all talking about the API interactions that are happening behind the
Exactly.
scenes. So when you are testing for a login screen, login window, you would want to go deeper. What about those? And then it has to fit your context, for which you will have to write code. So you're absolutely right, Naveen, and I really like that view. But here is a very interesting question which has already come up, and I want to remind the audience, please keep shooting your questions. We'll take them along as we go along. So Mani is asking, can this chat GPT be integrated with BDD framework to write user stories? Probably, if I might just enhance this question a little bit, can we have feature files written using chat GPT, or you know my code generated using chat GPT to help me with BDD?
Yeah, yeah, definitely, Money. Absolutely good question. That see, I'm not saying that right now Cucumber is giving the API with the Chat GPT. At the moment you create the feature file in your favorite editor tool like IntelliJ or Eclipse, it will automatically generate that. But you can always, it depends on the prompt that you're writing in the Chat GPT. If your prompt is very smart enough and you really want to interact with the Chat GPT and you give your requirement that, hey, as a user, I want to create a feature file to cover these number of scenarios, mention scenario outline, examples, data tables, parameterizations, and then remove the hard code value, proper use cases of given, when, then with the working keywords and everything. Give a proper prompt and then give the scenario. It will definitely generate some really good feature files for you, and then convert that into step definition in your favorite language. You can do that. And I'm pretty much sure maybe in future some plugins will be there on IntelliJ or somewhere that these BDD plugins or a Cucumber feature file will be generated automatically. And you think in a positive way. It is so boring for me to, as a user, right, do something like this. We are doing a lot of spelling mistake, grammatical mistakes. We are not following the a proper feature file. Still, people are using BDD and don't know how to use BDD and how to create a proper feature file. A lot of hard-coded values that you are doing. So you are saving a lot of time in that case. So you can take it as a learning also for you, no doubt about it. So I think it can be integrated and it can be used as a wrapper also on top of that for sure.
Or you could perhaps enhance it by writing your own plugin, or
Yeah.
your own APIs for that matter, and have things interact. Very good question, Mani. Thank you so much. So I want to take it a little further. So when we talk
Mhm.
about new technology, chat GPT, it is
Mhm.
doing so well, and you've shared your perspective. What happens
Mhm.
to some of the older tech that we had been using for automation? For
Mhm.
example, Selenium. We've seen Selenium come a long way. We have started the conversations around Selenium 5 already. You've observed Selenium 5 conference. We'll talk about a little more on that,
Mhm.
more in detail. Uh, how do you think uh, these technologies will continue to persist, even with the advent of ChatGPT, Selenium, Playwright, Cypress? What about these?
See, ChatGPT is not going to perform any testing on behalf of you, right, on the application. ChatGPT cannot execute your test cases. ChatGPT is a AI tool or intelligent tool that will generate, okay, fine, if you really want to automate, but you tell me which technology, which tech stack that you really want to use that. If in the background Selenium is not there, for example, after 2 years or 3 years, or Playwright is not there, so on what basis ChatGPT will generate the tool, right? On what basis ChatGPT will generate the automation script for you? So the importance of Selenium and these tools, all the legacy tools that we are using so far, plays a very important role. And I'm closely observe. I observed very closely the Selenium conference that recently happened, and then a lot of new things. Good to know that a lot of new things are happening around Selenium. Selenium 5 is also already planned. Selenium WebDriver BDD protocol is also in line in pipeline, and that will make a revolution in that automation, browser automation. That is one of the best protocol will be there in the market as compared to Cypress and as compared to Playwright. If you could talk about these three major tools.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about, I know that you have questions that about Selenium WebDriver, what is the new things are coming. We'll talk about more details in that, but tools will be there for sure. Because if let's say tool developments are not happening from let's say for next 2 3 years, there are no developments, there are no commits are happening. The tool is totally outdated. Then on what basis ChatGPT also will generate the same libraries and same code on the basis of the previous old libraries? Then definitely it's not going to work. So ChatGPT is not going to create a new automation tool for you. We have to understand the basic understanding here that ChatGPT is not going to perform any testing on the specific browser. ChatGPT just tell you that, okay, yeah, with this Selenium, Java, Python, or Playwright with JavaScript, I'm going to generate this code, and then you use it. It's up to you. It's correct or not. It's working for you or not. You refactor it, but this is the thing from my side, and that's it. I think the tool will be there for sure.
Excellent, excellent. So I want to go back and pick one question that was there on YouTube, and this is from Faiz. What are your thoughts about the need of knowing system design to be an effective test automation engineer?
Yes, Fez, it's absolutely very, very important. I mean, when you lacking in the system design, we always talk about, okay, fine, you have to be really good in the domain knowledge and domain expertise. But for the technical perspective, I think you should know about how exactly my tech stack, how exactly my systems are working, how exactly other different components, how exactly my microservices, API, databases, and integration and distributed management or distributed system that we are using to integrate with other third-party APIs or internal APIs. Otherwise, you cannot work in the overall ecosystem of the specific project. Think about you are working in an e-commerce company and then you are working in, let's say, a category team. You really need to get some data from the order management team or let's say user management team, and there are a lot of other backend APIs are distributed. You have to consume their APIs, you have to produce your API, and a lot of do integration testing. If you don't know the system design, if you don't know how exactly my data, the legacy data is getting migrated to the new data is getting again a bi-directional migration is happening, which technology, which sync APIs that I'm using, what is the structure of the REST APIs, what is the structure of the authentication APIs, what do you mean by content management? So, am I using a SQL database or no SQL database, and how exactly the system is behaving, data pipelines and everything? That plays a very important role for a tester to write a better test case, to write the system or to test the system in a better way. Otherwise, we are just doing a black box testing, entering something and clicking on something and getting the result, and that's it. I think it's a very shallow limitation of the tester if you're doing it like this. So I think we should raise the bar higher to learn about, concentrate on the system design as well. That plays very important role.
I think that's a very interesting and a very inspiring answer, because people are still stuck on those high level
Correct.
tests, and even when they are looking at requirements, it's still a very high level inquisitiveness. If you don't get deeper into understanding how you're solving the customer's problem, what problem you're solving first of all, and how are you doing it, interact with your architects, with your developers, ask them questions regarding your system design, understand how the APIs are getting orchestrated, and what features are you bringing in through that, what capabilities are you bringing in. It's very important. Thank you, Naveen, for mentioning that. And since you've spoken already about Selenium conference, there is a
Hmm.
question which has already come up, so I'm not going to hold it back. I'm going to ask you,
Mhm.
what is the future of Selenium? Is it going to stay another 5 to 10 years, or Playwright Cypress will get replaced?
Okay, Sparsh. Yeah, I mean that's a very every day I get this question in my inbox. What is the future of Selenium? I'll tell you that. See, the future of Selenium, future of Playwright will be there. Cypress will be there. Selenium will be there. So when we state some statement, right? We bluntly say this tool will kill this. How can you how can you kill Selenium, and how can a specific or new tool which is a very less community support in the market will replace a tool like Selenium? Selenium is the king in automation, right? So as king is dead, I don't think so. The king will be dead very soon. And Selenium dev team is also not fool. They know that in and out about what is happening. And then the good thing about Selenium team is that they know when to release what. If you closely see the Selenium conference, people were asking about, Cypress will kill Selenium or not, or what is there in Selenium 5. Selenium 5 will be there maybe next 1 year or 2 years.
Yes.
But are you really aware of Selenium 4 as well? People are still using Selenium 3.
Yeah.
I have seen some people are using Selenium RC also, which is like outdated around 5 years back. And Selenium 4 is there in the market from last 2 years. And a lot of new things are happening with respect to Selenium 4. And then we are still not using all the features. Have you ever used all the CDP tools, all the CDP libraries, which is like way back in initial in the beginning of Selenium 4 itself they introduced. And most of the people are not aware of what is Selenium 4 architecture. What do you mean by W3C WebDriver protocol, W3C WebDriver APIs, and all such things? People are not aware of all those things. So then, on what basis, if you don't know the actual, the feature, the advantages that Selenium is giving to you, tell me any scenario which Selenium cannot do, where Playwright and Cypress can do. I'm talking about in terms of browser automation. I think most of the things can be done by Selenium here and there. And most important thing with Selenium is that the standard, the compliance with the W3C. Don't take Selenium in that way lightly. That Playwright is also not compliant to Cypress is also not compliant with the W3C. All the browser vendors. You talk about Google, Microsoft, Chromium platform. Everything is W3C compliant, and Selenium is compliant from last couple of years. It's absolutely W3C WebDriver. These are the standard and standardized by the W3C itself. So you talk about that, okay, I am writing my code with the W3C WebDriver API. My browser is also W3C standard and communicating with the standard to standard. It's always a less flaky test cases and then more reliable tool in the market. That's what Selenium is more adopted in the community and by the companies and by the corporates as compared to Playwright. So don't worry about that. It will be there for sure for next 5 years and 10 years. And we cannot predict what will happen after 5 years, but the way Selenium is going, the kind of APIs, and it's very, very active community. The moment they see the bug, immediately, they will try to fix it and they will try to give a release in the new thing. Recently happened with the Chrome browser 111. We were
Yes.
all were facing the issue, and then within 10 to 15 days, we were getting the fixes over there. So it depends on the Selenium dev community, how many commits you go there. More than 8,000 commits are there. So that's really great to see that. So yeah, I think its future is great.
I want to ask you this question. Okay. So on Selenium 4, you said that still people are not aware fully. So how can somebody increase their awareness and adoption of Selenium and the new features? What
Mhm.
can we do as testers to know more about the capabilities of Selenium and what Selenium 4 has to offer? What conversations are happening on Selenium 5? What are some of the steps that we can take as testers?
See, follow first of all that you follow the community. I'm not saying that. I talk to a lot of people. I take trainings also, and when I talk to them, which Selenium tool that you guys have used, and recently have you used any Selenium tool? No, Naveen, we are still using Selenium 3, and we have no idea that okay, what other features are there in Selenium 4. The only thing is that they are not maybe awareness. I mean, they are not aware of it. The lacking of awareness because of maybe they are not having that level of maturity or having not having that level of understanding that I should know about a specific open source tool. Everything is open source. You can go to their source code, you can go to their documentation. Everything is updated. You should at least go and check what is happening. You go and check their commit history. Every day I go and check that, okay, what interesting that these people are doing. So if I can do it, then why can't you do that? And it depends on then, okay, how exactly you're influencing the people also. Somebody saying that, okay, no, we should, not looking into it. This is a standard way of doing it from last, 2 to 3 years, and there's just focus only that part. If your work is happening, if your jugaad is happening, if your hack is happening, you don't need to look into other things. If it is working, why to touch that? So people, they don't tend to explore much on open source tools and the technologies. I think we should explore it. We should look into it. What are new things are happening? Go to their official documentation, talk to people, and talk closely. Follow these conferences. Closely follow these Selenium conferences, and join these conferences. It will help you a lot. That you never know that okay, this people is doing something what, and then they are going to tell you something very interesting, and that will entirely change your career. Also, you never know the magic moment about that as
Yes, absolutely. And I think you mentioned something very, very important. It's about contributing to the open source community. And for people in the world of automation, those who have excelled really well have been excellent contributors to the open source community. And Selenium as a platform provides you that opportunity to go and talk about it, to go and contribute it. I think there's no better place. I mean, for you to do that. And since so much conversation is already happening, if you followed Selenium conference,
well.
already so much communication and conversations are happening around Selenium 5. Then it increases your opportunity, window of opportunity as well, right? In terms of contributing. So I
I'll
want to
take
ask
one
you
more
this.
small point.
Yes,
I'll take
please,
maybe two
please.
minutes. There is again a one stereotype in our community that we always focus on the basics.
Yeah.
Testing, fine. Arey yaar, I know 2 + 2 = 4. If I really want to master in my algebra or trigonometry, or I really want to do a PhD in that specific area, I really need to raise the bar high, right? My basics are clear, fine. Those things are done. Here I'm not doing any university exam or semester exams. I really want to be the best. I really want to be in the top of in the community, that okay, these are the top 5 people or top 10 people who are doing some amazing work. If you really want to see yourself in terms of knowledge and everything, so I have seen people are talking about, okay, why to focus too much on the specific tool? Let's see, why are you focusing only on Selenium or Playwright or Cypress? I really want to get mastery into it because I like it. It really makes me happy that okay, when I see a specific tool, I know each and everything about that. So there is no harm in that. So when you develop those interests instead of just to improve your basics, basics are mandatory these days. We cannot say that okay, you should know about testing. So fine, that okay, those debates are done now. Okay, from last 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, we're doing the testing is equally important. Fine, we have done those things. Now, when you know the base is clear, now raise the bar high. Go up to the next level, and okay, let's go to the next level. That what is happening. Let's explore more and more about that particular tools. So when you explore more about that tool, you will try to solve many complex problems also with that particular tool. That is actually I really want to give an advice to everyone that try to explore more about, try to get an expertise on that specific tool. Obviously your basics are plays very important role in that case.
No, I think you've actually answered my question. I was going to ask you this question on focusing on contributing to the community, focusing on learning the advanced concept. Okay, basics is right. Okay, often in my analysis when I look at CVs, people write, oh, basic knowledge of Selenium. Okay, you know Selenium basics, but what about the capabilities of Selenium beyond the regular stuff that you've been doing? you know
Correct.
uh, there are conversations around how you can do advanced browser testing with Selenium. You don't need any other tool or anything else to support you with that. And as browsers are getting more and more advanced, your
Correct.
testing also will need to improve and catch up on that. Okay, you're talking about Web3 elements now, and you want to test there. Still, your browser is important. You want to still test there. So, are you aware of the latest protocols that you're working with? So thank you for that answer. You've anticipated what I was going to ask and answered that. We'll take another question from the audience. And this is a very basic one, but I still want your perspective on this. So Deepak is asking, what if the manual tester with 5 years of experience wants to switch into automation testing with Selenium knowledge? Is there any chance of getting an opportunity? How do you see this question with regards to your previous advice that you gave about knowing a little more
Mhm.
into Selenium?
Yeah, Deepak, this is like, first of all, you're saying what is a manual tester with 5 years? So you are already into testing, you're already in the industry. And getting an opportunity with the basic testing stuff, also with the basic functional testing that you're doing, that also will give you the opportunity. Now, the question is that you really want to explore more, you really want to reduce your manual hours, you really want to get into the latest trends in the industry with respect to automation, where other people are also doing it and some really good stuff, and people are solving really complex problems and making testing as fast and more reliable with the automation tool, with the flavor of the typical testing that we always do. So if you know the things, those things, definitely there are a lot of good chances for getting an opportunity. But along with that, again, only basics of Selenium won't help you. The market is very competitive. There are a lot of people are in there in the market. Everyone knows about Selenium. Everyone knows about automation these days. Everyone has taken the courses and training and watching the videos everywhere. And then people are really enthusiastic like to learn the new tools and technologies. So you have to beat those people. So you have to you have to be very specific about that how exactly I'm going to be different from others. If I'm taking your interview, so you really need to, impress me that okay, yeah, this is what I'm looking for, and this is the best way that okay, I can give the answer, and I'm actually different from others. This is the way I solve my problems as compared to others. So you have to, raise those capabilities in your the way you are learning, the way you are solving the problem. It's not like just writing the basic stuff and then that is going to help you. Because after 5 years, this is the expectation from every company, from every hiring manager in the interview panel that how exactly you are solving my problem that exactly I'm looking for. I'm looking for an automation guy who can write the better code, who can write more test cases, and then who can work in a collaborative way. But if you're lacking in those skills, you just know basic stuff like driver equal to new Chrome driver and just launching a couple of things and then saying that okay, I have just basic knowledge about Selenium, I can improve later. No, nobody's going to entertain you after once you join the company. People are expecting the things from you, right? You have to deliver the things. This is the way corporate works. So I think, and people will help you out then only if you know the things already. If you know your basics are clear, if you know, okay, maybe some level of understanding you really need in terms of framework development or existing framework, then only they will guide you. Otherwise, if you ask me that, okay, hey, Naveen, how to commit a code, how to raise a PR, how to solve the merge conflicts. And I'm expecting these basic stuff from your side. So along with Selenium, improve overall ecosystem areas as well, and then go with the market.
Thank you, Naveen, for that answer. I hope, Deepak, you've got your answer. Here's a question from Apurva. I believe that it is tough to switch from three to four. I mean, in terms of Selenium, as many methods are deprecated. What is the best way to switch to four when your framework is quite old?
See, Apurva, what will happen? You think about after a couple of years, if Selenium claims that we are not going to support Selenium 3 library at all, it is just there in the Maven repository, but there is no development happening. And or what if they say that okay, Selenium 3 is deprecated? Then somehow you have to migrate your framework from 3 to 4. So do baby steps that you change your library from Selenium 3 to 4. It's not like a lot of things got deprecated. First of all, you have to understand what happened with Selenium 3 to 4. What do you mean by WebDriver protocol or WebDriver architecture? Earlier it was JSON via protocol, now it is W3C WebDriver. What do you mean by this? Try to understand that. You can refer my videos, it's already there on YouTube. My whiteboard series also there, you can refer that. And then you try to change your library and just execute that and check that, okay, try to debug your code and check that, okay, how many errors that you are getting, how many methods got deprecated, how many methods are saying deprecated warning over there, and what is the replacement of that method in the new Selenium 4. For example, implicitly wait and explicitly wait signature got changed. Earlier we were using time unit, now we have duration class. So these are the changes that you have to refactor your code, create a separate repo for that, and just let's see for next 2 weeks I'll just do all the refactoring work, create a separate branch for that, and then once everything is done, keep running it, keep trying to make it stable, and once it is quite stable, then now you claim that okay, we have completely migrated from Selenium 3 to 4, give a POC, give a demo to your management or to the team, and then integrate with your main CI/CD pipeline. Do a baby step, and then in the chunks you can do that. Okay, today I'll take 10 test cases, tomorrow 20 test cases, and let's see overall execution is working fine or not after migrating from 3 to 4.
Here's another question, which seems like a follow-up. Can you please suggest ways, sources to explore more types of real-time frameworks in Selenium and improve framework building knowledge?
See, real-time frameworks in Selenium is more of a how exactly, you're designing the components, how exactly you're designing the framework components. There are different types of design patterns. You can improve that. Let's see if you're using a singleton pattern, if you're using factory pattern, if you're using some uh, with the Cucumber BDD design, if you really want to follow that page object model design pattern that you really want to follow, try to improve your wrapper, how to create a wrapper, how to create a generic utility. It's not like that for every page I have to launch a separate method I'm calling and then separate method I'm writing again and again. Try to understand what do you mean by reusability, the proper implementation of object oriented programming concept, when to use composition, when to use inheritance, interfaces, overloading, overriding. These are basic stuff that everyone should know about it to improve your framework knowledge and designs and everything. And then you talk about a lot of good stuff, decorative patterns you can use it, how to integrate the reporting structures and everything, what is the best way of generating the report, integrating with the CI/CD pipeline, and then raise your bar high that how exactly you're integrating with the main Jenkins pipeline, GitHub Actions, and running the test cases on the cloud and generating the report over there, creating a test automation infrastructure overall so that your test automation is easy to run and then easy to maintain as well. So try to improve those areas with respect to design patterns and infrastructure. That will definitely help you out.
Yeah, thank you, Naveen, for that answer. Here is another question for you. According to you, what are still open areas of improvement in automation which are either not covered or has to be improved more?
Ailesh, that's a very good question. That what I see, um, that's a overall problem. Not everyone is at the same levels on the same page, but I'll I'll advise everyone that at least try to explore what is there. People are actually lacking in the basic IQ also that in terms of automation. That uh, what is the best way of learning automation? You improve your coding skills. You improve your programming skills. If you don't know how to write a basic code, if you don't know what is a basic for loop or while loop and basic object-oriented programming concepts, then in that case you cannot design a framework. Whatever the practice that you're doing in your main method and writing a plain script, the real-time scenarios, real-time frameworks, real-time projects are totally different. There you have to contribute in the library. We have to create a lot of generic functions. We have to create components. We have to create page layers. We have to write test cases over there. We have to write a lot of utilities, in order to create the components. So just try to improve in that area. Don't write the plain script. Try to check that, okay, when I work in the real-time project with other four folks also in the team, that how exactly I'm going to contribute about that. And try to find out more and more complex scenarios. Don't just play with the simple applications or some dummy application. Just try to find out, okay, this application is with the React, Angular, Vue, or some complex to complex web components are there. I'm talking about in terms of browser automation. Try to improve that. And if you're talking about overall automation, definitely there are a lot of scopes. People are still lacking in terms of backend testing, API testing, microservices testing, and database testing. I think you should improve those things as well with respect to performance and security testing. Also, there are many tools introduced. K6 there, Gatling is there, JMeter is there. Penetration testing also, people are like a lot of people are focusing and diverting in that area, their career and everything. So I think you can improve your overall automation package. If you really want to improve that, you can improve in this area.
All right, now I want to move a little away from the discussion that we are having specific to Selenium and moving
Mhm.
into a different direction. And this is, I think, an interesting question. So Antar Manish is asking, what
Mm.
skills are required to venture into IoT testing? And I think he has a follow-up also. I'll ask that as well. And his follow-up question is, are there any tools for automating IoT testing? So Naveen, we are seeing emergence or like a boom of IoT around us. Okay,
Mhm.
which means that it is interesting for the testers to know about IoT and IoT testing. So, what are some of the skills, according to you, we should
Mhm.
look at with our knowledge in automation to go in the direction of IoT testing?
Mm. See, IoT is again a very interesting boom is happening in the testing industry, and there are not see you cannot do Selenium. you cannot use Selenium or Playwright with IoT because IoT involves a lot of hardware and then other ecosystems. And then let's see, for example, I was working with the Sixth in my previous company. So what exactly we used to do? We used to do a lot of IoT testing and Bluetooth devices testing, and then Apple Watch testing. Through Apple Watch, you were able to lock and unlock the car, which is there on the road. So a lot of Raspberry devices. We used to mock the services, mock the behavior with respect to perform the IoT and to perform the end-to-end test cases. So we were not using actual specific tool over there. For Selenium, is very limited to browser automation. So we were focusing more on the how exactly the internal design is designed for that, how exactly that there are some IoT simulators given to us. We were majorly concentrating on that, and then whatever the simulators we were performing, with respect to Raspberry devices and the hardware testing that we were doing over there, and then we were focusing on the majorly on the behavior mock API that we were actually trying to create that in the local environment, in the test or stage environment. And then we were seeing that, okay, when I send a request to the IoT device, how exactly it's going to respond me back and what kind of JSON object it's sending me so that I can fulfill my test cases and my test automation. Something like that, we used to do that. And this is still, I'm not saying that specific tools are available in the market for the IoT, but I think it's more of a manual interventions are really required. You cannot automate everything with respect to IoT and really require your human intelligence also in check physical appearance over there as well with the simulators and emulators, how exactly things are working with respect to IoT. And then because if any hardware failure or any device failure is there with respect to IoT, then your entire testing is screwed up. So there's a very limited scope for automation, I would say, right now for IoT, according to my understanding, whatever the work that I have done previously. But I think, yes, there are some paid tools there in the market, but if you, there are paid tools. There, I have seen one company, Brajesh, that they perform IoT testing through the robots.
Yes.
There are mobile robots are there. Robots are actually testing it, actually pressing the button on the device and then doing the testing over there.
Yeah.
But it's very not obviously budget friendly. It will take a lot of cost for you, infrastructure
Yeah.
cost and everything. Maintenance also very much required. So yeah,
Yeah, if you talk about commercially off-the-shelf tools, Eggplant is one tool which is
yeah,
focusing heavily on IoT and IoT testing, which is worth experimenting. They have tried to bring in elements of Selenium for supporting in the browser-based testing, but that's only, what you said is limited to browsers, but IoT testing is much more than just
exactly.
the browser. So great point there, Naveen. Now I want to ask you this. Okay, so I am looking to hire some SDETs, okay,
Hmm.
who are specialized in automation and things like that. And I know that they have fair idea of the automation tools and they know stuff about browsers, APIs, end-to-end test, backend, whatever testing I need to do. They know stuff. What other skills would I look for in SDETs
Hmm.
to hire some of the best? You've been an engineering manager, you've been in recruiting positions. So what skills would you look for in SDETs and what are some of these that the audience can learn and work upon?
See, so first of all, obviously that how exactly it's just fitting in my team, that attitude and all such things should be there. That is the basic criteria. And the testing crafts, the knowledge about the testing. What do you mean by testing? How exactly we do the testing? It's not about having the you know always that same mindset. No, I just want to do test automation. I think you are not the right fit for my team. Test automation is a part of process of your testing, but testing craft is very important. Testing mindset, testing knowledge. It's not like that I just want to do automation. That's again a bad attitude of saying the things at a time of interview. Testing is the overall responsibility. I think we should more focus as a hiring manager, as an engineering manager. I should want to be, yeah, this person is really able to solve my problem or not. Either test automation with tool or without tools. Whenever I say, okay, hey, tomorrow we have a release, we don't have any automation in place. Are you going to write the automation for next 6 hours? No, right? You cannot automate 500 test cases within 6 hours, right? So we really need to focus. My focus area is different right now. Tomorrow we have a release, or next couple of days we are really busy in the. So we need to think out of the box scenarios. How exactly you are good in exploratory testing and everything, that plays a very important role. How smartly you are covering most and more test cases, and how exactly you are understanding the business requirement, acceptance criteria, and interacting with other people. and giving the best report so that we can convince that, yeah, this is the testing is done by us, and it's a very convincing testing that we have done from our side. And if you have that attitude along with the testing automation flavor, no doubt about it, definitely I'm going to test your test automation knowledge also. So SDET is not about only automation. SDET is, end of the day, we all are testers. End of the day, we have to perform testing. If you're expecting only 100% automation, I think no company does 100% automation, according to my perception or according to my experience, that whatever I've seen. A lot of people, they claim I do only 100% automation. That's a wrong thing. Nobody does 100% automation in any company.
It's not
So we
possible.
do. It's not possible. If you are doing it, you are making yourself fool, or maybe you are making your company also fool, that you are not doing 100% automation at all. So yeah, that's a specific thing. And a very short, long story short, I'll say that the testing mindset is very important. How smart you are. And in terms of automation, from the SDET, I'm looking for some out of the box things. Let's see, for small utilities that you are creating to save your time. Automation is not about only browser automation or API automation. Let's say you're generating the test data. I really want to generate some, 10,000 record for my in my test, in the test environment, for the performance testing point of view, for the penetration testing point of view. How smartly you're generating the data, data dumping part, or test data generation, or creating some basic libraries for interacting with the, migration process. Migration is test automation or migration automation. I'm doing for that purpose. So these are the things which will make you more strong as debt, because you have those skills, and to automate the manual efforts, unnecessary things. You remember that we had done that challenge with the TTC, the
Yes.
testing competition, that James created that utility to download all the 500 or 5,000
Correct.
ebooks, and he was
Correct.
like, within a second he was actually checking the things.
Correct.
And that is not testing. This is all about, saving your efforts, downloading it together, and then checking. Yeah, after that it will be so easy. So he just spent a couple of hours to write the script in Perl, or I think in PHP, I guess.
Yeah, I
And
think
then
he wrote 50 lines of code in Perl,
yeah,
just 50 lines of code, and
exactly.
he was able to download 2,500 records very easily, and it was in a presentable manner. You could just look at it and analyze very quickly.
Exactly. Exactly. He was just exporting everything in the Excel sheet, and then
Yes.
super easy for me to. Now you think about 2,500 ebooks tested manually, and I can hire any Tom Dick Harry also,
No,
right, for that
there was
purpose.
one girl who won the competition. She tested it manually. She found the
And she
same effort, but James was did a very smart work by writing that piece of Perl code, and he
Exactly.
was
So
able to do
that is the quality of an SDET, that yeah, you're saving a lot of time creating those automation utilities, saving your time. So if you have that mindset, that I think that will make you different as compared to others.
So, in a sense, what you're saying is automation is not just converting of certain manual test cases to automation scripts. It is much more than that. It is the ability to give you that freedom to do things faster, to do things more efficiently, and bring in that engineering element into your work. That we always look for. So as a hiring manager, this is what you will look for. In addition, you also mentioned something in one of your previous answers, and I want a little more elaboration on that. You mentioned about the skill of problem solving. Now, as an engineering manager, how do you evaluate somebody for a problem solving skill?
That's a that's the main business for me. Like if you are joining, let's say, Swiggy or any food delivery app, and if you have no idea, or if you are not at all interested in solving the problems of the business, that is what I'm talking about. That if you're joining one e-commerce company and we are releasing a new thing in the market, let's see, AI-based product delivery system that we are, or customer delivery system that we are. So I want that you are doing brainstorming with us. You're participating in those activities, and you have that mindset. Okay, let's solve this problem. Okay, so I'm not talking about, okay, how exactly you're solving a very complex web table on the browser, on Chrome browser. I know that you can do it, but I'm more interested towards the problem solving for the business, for the company, for the product that we are delivering.
Yeah.
As a QA guy, as a quality guy, as an SDET guy, what are the inputs are coming from your side? Are you really against those, the wrong things? Are you really concerned about the quality? Are you really concerned about, no, this I think this is wrong. I think for the customer point of view, this can be better. This should be better. This can be done. Raise the questions, ask the questions, talk about the risk analysis and everything. And then this is what the debate and the brainstorming sessions I'm expecting from you, from the, with respect to the problem solving things. So if you have that thing, that's the main thing. I was talking about that thing.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely good for hiring managers, and also for aspiring SDETs to know this, that this is exactly what your hiring manager is looking for. Okay, you may focus a lot on understanding the technology, but how well do you understand, or are able to bring out your problem solving abilities is very important. And that's where I personally feel, and this is my opinion, Naveen, you can also throw some light on it. There is a heavy focus on coding interviews during, coding rounds
Hmm.
in interviews. First 2 rounds or 3 rounds are full coding based. I feel instead, if they are replaced by problem solving challenges, that you give problems
Hmm.
and ask people to solve it, I think they would do a much better job. That is my personal perspective. What is your take on it?
Absolutely. I just don't prefer those things for the QA point of view. See, and the bad thing about is you go to any, farm companies or bang or any good product based company. The first round is within 45 minutes, you have to solve three questions or three problems on lead code or hacker rank. And how can you solve it? Like, frankly speaking, if you give it to me right now, I won't be able to do that within 30, 45 minutes, two or three problems. It will try. My mindset is not prepared for that. My mindset is different. I'm not a robot. I'm not an engineering college grad now, because that's a trend in the market these days. How quickly you can solve the problems. The moment you see the problem, are you able to solve it? So you are actually, with this approach, to all the corporates, I'm telling that you're losing good mindset. You're losing good people. I've seen a lot of candidates. They are like really, really good in testing. The way they test the things, the way they can, give the better quality for the product. You're actually losing those people just because of these stupid rounds for the testers. I think it should be a combined effort. You really want to take technical interviews or programming interviews? Fine, you take it.
Right.
Okay, that's fine. You take framework interview, you take testing interview, you take situation based questions, and all the behavioral driven based questions that you really want to ask, all the testing based questions, and then you take a combined decision. Your You want that, okay, I really want to hire a tester, but you are checking his knowledge on the basis of those typical 45, I mean, towards typical two or three, how exactly hash map is working internally. So this is the, I think, I don't prefer that. When we used to take interviews in my previous company, there also they're having the same mindset. Okay, the moment the first round is gone, they fail, immediately candidate is rejected. When I joined them, I clearly said that no, on what basis? Otherwise, I cannot build a good team. I don't
Correct.
want only technocrats. I don't want only robots in my team. I want people who are good testers, who are having experiences, who are coming from some really good companies like some banking domain or some specific domain, who can just think and talk to my customer and then solve some really good problems with respect to testing.
And here is a question that is in line with one of your previous answers. In reality, are there any testing roles that are 100% automation, as in 100% writing code day in, day out?
I mean, I don't know who is that LinkedIn user. I don't know your name, but 100% automation testing role, that 100% automation is, I don't think so that exists. And if you are doing it, I think that's not the right job or right. I think you are making fool out of it. That's not true. It's not possible. You think about it. How can you, like, all time you're just writing the code? It means you are not able to understand the problem. First of all, 100% automation, you cannot do it. It doesn't matter you're doing browser or API automation. You really need to test the feature, right? You need to go there and then explore the application and then do it. And then there are certain scenarios where you cannot do 100% automation over there. So 100% automation job profile, I think it's a myth according to me. It's not possible.
Very well said, Naveen, and I can't agree more on that. Here is another question from Zulfikar, and Zulfikar is asking, as a QA mentor, please let me know what are the DevOps and security testing skills required for a tester to learn so that a tester can get any challenging position.
Yeah, Zulfikar, it's a good question that DevOps these days, see, how you learn a testing, right? To learn testing, you really need to know basic stuff, right? What do you mean by bug lifecycle? In which tool that I have to raise the bug? in which tool I have to write the test cases and everything. Same thing for the application testing point of view, that you really need to know about the basic architecture. If you don't know idea about DevOps and basic idea of the cloud technologies, then it's good to know about that. It's not about only dev people can do it or only dev people should know about the DevOps. Everyone should know about how exactly DevOps and it's a mindset actually. DevOps is not a specific, I would say, a specific roles and responsibilities. It's a mindset of the company when development and operations work are working together. So operation people are solving at the infrastructure level problems, and dev people are working at the engineering level problem. And dev means it's not about the relevant team. Dev team means the engineering team, where
Ex-
QA and dev they come together along with the PO. So this is the way that I mean, this is how the DevOps term actually comes into the picture. So definitely, you should know about DevOps, about the cloud, how exactly my pipelines, how exactly my build automation tools are working, where exactly my automation artifacts are getting hosted and deployed, and then how to set up the environment. See, I'm in Dubai right now. I've met a couple of people in Dubai, and then they were doing a lot of good work. They're creating their own test environment, test and staging environment. They deploy and they test it, and then after that they integrate with the main pipeline, and then they deploy on the production. Then I
Wow.
said, okay, what exactly a DevOps team is doing? No, DevOps team, they actually taught us, they educated us, and now we are doing it by our own because we understand
Excellent.
our environment better. So that is the need of DevOps, and same thing for the security as well.
Excellent, excellent. I really love that answer and that attitude, that cultural change that has been brought by DevOps. That you understand, you teach each other, you collaborate with each other, and then you go ahead and use your existing infrastructure to bring in those engineering principles to make a difference. That's what DevOps is all about, right? It's
Exactly.
it's essentially the culture, the engineering element, and the infrastructure to be used together. So, very nice use case. Thank you for sharing, Naveen. Here is another question, and this is typically with respect to projects running in Agile. What's your take on in-sprint automation? What the challenge of in-sprint automation, and how do you get over it? I will just add on one
Mhm.
more thing.
See, Satish, that's a good question. That in sprint automation, I'm not saying it's not possible. It is possible, but but it depends on the project. It depends on your product management team as well, that how exactly your acceptance criteria or your definition of done is it defined, and are you really regularly and uh, strictly following those definition of DoD guidelines or not. So in your DoD, it's written that okay, without automation, the specific user story cannot be completed. Then definitely go with that. If you're not following that, you have to raise the voice for that. Okay, hey, it's part of my DoD. You are still, PO is still saying, okay, the user story is done, which is not a typical case in most of the companies. That's what like in sprint automation is not always, you can see, not very popular or not very regularly done. Along with that, make sure that, okay, your basic framework, your basic, the components that you have designed in your framework are very stable, are already very well proven, and you're doing it from very long period of time. And then the moment you see the new feature, your framework, your utilities are very smart enough or very generic enough that you can easily incorporate or introduce the new test cases over there. You don't need to put much efforts. If you're putting much effort, you need more time on that, and then by the time your sprint is over. So that's what, make your make your system means your automation system, your automation execution environment or your framework stable, and then it will be easy to achieve the instant automation. But before that, it takes a lot of time. It takes separate dedication, separate team, skills, resources, and everything. And then initially, it takes n+2, n+1 cycle also. Whatever in sprint is going on, we do automation after one sprint or two sprint after that. So first initial couple of months, maybe you have to spend time more on n+1 or n+2 automation, and then later on we can achieve nth automation also. We can do that.
Excellent. I particularly like that perspective because there are a lot of questions coming around in-sprint automation. Is it possible, first of all? And thank you for clarifying that it is, but it is a game of patience, right? One has to understand that overnight you can't achieve that. Also, one more factor that is very important is the maturity level of your team as well, which is, everybody should be on the same page. Everybody should have a common understanding of what it is. You had briefly touched upon CDP features. So somebody is
Hmm.
asking for importance of CDP features. Can you just highlight that a little more?
Yeah, so see, CDP is the main game changer in browser automation. This
Yes.
Chrome Dev protocols. The Chrome Dev protocols is having a lot of APIs internally. For example, a couple of examples, if I give you that, if you really want to change, let's say if I'm in India and I really want to change my geolocation to US, and let's say you're working remotely in Bangalore, and from Bangalore you cannot test your application because you are in Bangalore, but application supports only in New York. So you can change the geolocation according to the specific coordinates and everything. So that can be easily done with the help of CDP. If you really want to authenticate, if you really want to pass the basic authentication, if you really want to get the performance logs or network logs, CDP is the main guy for that. This is how Cypress and this is how Playwright is doing it internally. They're calling the CDP features, CDP APIs internally, which is actually introduced in Selenium 4 as well,
Yep.
and you can do that. The only problem with the CDP is that it's very low level or very micro level or detail at the very in-depth level APIs are available. On top of that, Selenium and these tools, they have created a wrapper on top of that so that you don't need to call the CDP APIs directly. They have given the Chrome DevTools APIs, and then you can use those APIs and then do some, because see, try to understand one thing. Selenium cannot give you everything. It will be so difficult for Selenium to write a feature or provide a feature to change the geolocation from Bangalore to New York, or to change your bandwidth to 2G, 3G, or 4G, or 5G. CDP will do it very easily for you.
Yep.
So that is done by the Chromium team, and then you can use their APIs. And using their APIs directly, which will be a very challenging work or technical work that I have to understand what exactly these tools they have given. They have given a wrapper on top of it, easy, very simple methods, APIs that they have given. Call those APIs and then execute that.
Yep. Excellent. Thank you so much, Naveen, for answering that. Here is another question. What can be the scope of testing in AI ML model? Pretty much
So
with the
the
current trends, with ChatGPT and Bard and everybody coming out with their new AI tools. What is the scope of testing?
Yeah, scope testing is great. I think we should adopt these tools first of all. As I mentioned earlier, also that if you're not adopting, then some other guy is adopting for sure, and he's doing smart work. And I'm not saying better work, but he's doing a smart work along with the writing the things and creating the things and designing the things quickly. And that guy is smart enough because he's adopting the tools. So definitely the role of AI, role of machine learning along with the human intelligence plus artificial intelligence plays a very important role. So in the testing scope, there are many things. You can generate your own feature files, you can generate your test data files or spec files you can generate. You don't need to write those manual efforts. Easily you can generate, let's say I really want uh, hundreds of JSON object in a particular JSON array along with these properties. And can you generate that? I can simple call my chat GPT APIs in my Selenium code or in anywhere, or I can create a wrapper on top of it or any open source API I can use it, and I can easily use that instead of writing by my own. Right. So, but saying that, okay, no, AI tool will automatically do the testing or robots will do the testing for you, I think that just still will take time. There are tools they claim that, okay, we will find certain test cases in advance for you in your application, but obviously it's lacking the human intelligence. I have seen some tools. You give your requirement, your acceptance criteria to that tool, tell that, okay, yeah, this is my application, and these are my API URLs, please test it. So AI
Yeah.
will test it for you. In fact, you give it the same thing to chat GPT also, it will generate some test scenarios for you. So now
Yep.
you can see, try to understand the role of that, and you cannot prevent that. We cannot stop this thing. You think about in next last 4 months, chat GPT 4 is there in the market with 7 billions of data, and then its tool is very smart enough to doing all these things. They're still lacking a couple of things, but you think about after 1 year and 2 years, what will happen when these monsters are there in the market and doing a lot of things. If you're not adopting it properly, I think we should adopt it. That's my perspective about AI and ML model in the testing.
Yeah, and in fact, conversations have already started about GPT-5.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, so we are going to see ChatGPT do a lot more stuff. Now, another interesting area of conversation, especially around automation in testing, has been the outburst of low code, no code tools. In the past 1 year, the market
Hmm.
has completely changed, I mean, it was there for a really long time. It had been there, People have been using Postman for a long time. So Postman is one of the very early low-code, no-code tools, if you could call it. But the testing market has changed completely in the past 1 year or so. I have personally looked at 80 plus tools.
Hmm.
Last couple of months I haven't researched much, but I'm sure the number has crossed 100 by now. So, what do you see changing with regards to testing, especially automation, with the advent of these low-code, no-code tools?
Yeah, see, in fact, I have also explored a couple of tools, and those tools are really good. And there are some limitations, no doubt about it. And there are some marketing gimmick also sometimes with some tools. I don't want to take anyone's name here, but uh, I think I remember that Sanjay was posted one thing on the LinkedIn that if your tool is suggesting AI or supporting AI, and let's start making the money out of that tool. You just need to add the AI tag behind that. So the codeless and the low code actually it's really good. You think about for those testers or for those teams who cannot afford uh, a dedicated automation team who cannot outsource the automation tool or automation teams. They cannot purchase or they have some budget issue, maybe some startups or something like this. I think for that, it's a very good use case. They just need to spend a couple of dollars in the license of getting those tools and then write quickly some very important use cases or your business flows and everything. And then just keep maintaining it and running it before releasing into the production. So I think that's a very good use case. I really don't want to take it a totally in a negative way, but I think that's a very positive use case. I can see that, especially for the testers who are lacking in the test automation, but still they really want to contribute for the automation. You can do that. But it's a there is a mob of all the AI tools in the market. It's difficult to decide that which one is good, which one is better. But if you see the real time challenges, you think about that. Okay, the real time challenges, is it really solving my purpose? I don't want any fancy features. I want my problem should be solved. I want that, okay, is it really supporting the parallel execution? How exactly test data management is done? How exactly it is doing the cross browser and all such things? Is it really require a lot of maintenance? Because in the demo, everything saying, okay, my tool is the best one. But when you're actually using it practically, then you will face the real time problems and real time situation along with the budget things.
Well, here's the thing, Naveen. I want to get your perspective. Okay, so talking about demos are typically done on positive cases, positive use
Yeah,
cases, positive user flows. But the challenges start happening when there are negative elements in your workflow coming in.
yeah,
People don't demonstrate. If I'm doing a demo, people will not demo a what if scenario. Okay, that is never a case study picked up for a demo. It is like, okay, positively, if I want to do, test the workflow of my particular app that I'm building, I'll show a positive workflow and I'm done. See, look how
correct.
cool it is and all that. But like you said, the challenge happens when people actually start using it in real time. And I just want to highlight this comment once again, and this is the view a lot of us in the community share, Naveen. So thank you so much. I said it up front. Okay, I have been learning so much from your videos. Since I started watching your videos in 2017, November is when I got introduced to your channel. You've been a revelation for me. So thank you from my side as well, along with the rest of the audience. Um, Here is again an interesting question from Mani, and he's asking if BDD feature file automation execution is taking for normal execution 25 minutes to perform all the steps of the user file. According to you, do you think we should go with small component level testing for one full story where it's interacting with 3 to 4 URLs?
So Mani is saying that feature file automation execution taking for normal execution is 25 minutes to perform all steps of specific user feature file. First of all, that it means 25 minutes is still high
Yes.
because in the user feature file that you have created, it means I can imagine there are many scenarios that you have written, or maybe your scenario outline is parameterized. So why don't you break into multiple pieces and create number of feature file or sub feature files? You can create that component wise feature file also you can create that. And then you're saying interacting with 3 to 4 URLs. So better you segregate your test cases or feature file with multiple features, write small scenarios. Generally, we say that okay, a typical feature file should not have more than three scenarios. I'm not saying these are the standards, but this is the sometimes we follow in the industry that it should not have more than three example scenario outlines or three
Correct.
specific scenarios. So divide it into multiple parts, and then you can provide tagging, grouping, and everything, and then try to run it on the basis of that. And then execution time you can improve with. There are many ways of doing it. Improve your locators, improve your reusabilities and everything. Just try to improve in that area. Don't use the static wait. Try to use always the dynamic waits over there. If element is found within 2 seconds, why are you waiting another 10 seconds? Rest of the 8 seconds should be ignored or should be eliminated. Use these tricks, and then do parallel execution. That will save a lot of time. If let's see, that's what the same AI tool or codeless automation tool is not supporting parallel execution, this is not solving my purpose at all. I want 500 test cases should be run in the parallel mode, not in the sequential mode. And if I'm really paying such a heavy amount for that, for parallel execution with 5 threads, is not in my budget at all. Same thing for you, that just try to do the parallel execution, execute your scenarios and feature files with the multiple threads, and then definitely you will get the results quickly over there.
Yes. Uh, I, I I endorse what Naveen just said. I mean, that was my first take. I mean, 25 minutes is a little too high for my comfort.
Yeah.
So I would want to break it down and approach it that way. Thank you, Naveen, for suggesting that. Mani, you had asked for my opinion. I have the exact same opinion as Naveen. Nothing different. I can't think of anything better. So that's that. Here's another question coming from Kushal, and Kushal is asking, as far as you know, self healing is very important element for having changing XPath, and of course, it is challenging. So how can we overcome this thing with an automation tool?
See, self-healing is very important for element having changing the XPath. First of all, that the library that you're using, Selenium does not provide any self-healing. You have to use some external library for that. In fact, there are no other tools. I'm talking about Playwright, Cypress, or these are the standard tools available in the market. As such, there is no mechanism of self-healing or something like that. See, the best way, always go with the typical approach, old school approach, follow, run your test cases daily basis. The moment you see any changes, if this script is getting failed, try to analyze, try to find out the root cause analysis. What happened? Why it is not working? Yesterday it was working, but today it's not working. Try to run 5 times and see, check that okay, what is a probability of getting those errors or changing the XPath? What exactly the reason behind that? So just try to understand the root cause of the problem and then try to fix it. Maybe it's a locator issue, maybe it's a sync issue, maybe it's a browser specific issue, or maybe that page is totally eliminated or that element is eliminated or deleted from the page. So just try to fix those problems at the root level instead of believing on those self-healing concept, because self-healing is very risky thing. You never know, it does not give you the full flash guarantee, because you never know that the DOM, especially in the browser automation, DOM plays a very important role in the DOM. If one div or one input tag is shifted from one place to another place, or any attribute got changed, then not sure that okay, self-healing will be healed automatically. So better you just try to find out the problem, talk to the developers, raise your voice. Why are you changing so frequently? It is actually impacting my work. So use these things actually for that.
Correct. So, Naveen, one of the biggest problems that I have seen with not just with automation but with testing is around test data,
Hmm.
and that's been a real pain for me. So how do
Hmm.
you handle problems with test data, especially around automation?
Yeah, so that's very important because test data is not only the problem with the test automation, in fact, for the manual testers also, because we
And here is
need
a question
data.
related to that as well from Jasoda.
Exactly, the test data in the QA environment and how to overcome. That's a very good question. And in fact, it requires a lot of engineering also. It's not about, I cannot rely on ABCD data. I say this term ABCD data means very simple data that you're using just to, log in and do the registration and then done. But the actual user is doing it in a different way. There are a couple of ways of doing it. Make sure you are talking about the GDPR compliances also and the security of the data also. We have to take care about that thing as well, because you are a tester guy, so you are responsible for that. Whenever you are doing, so what I do that test data management, the TDM tool that you can do. You can initiate this process with the development and the product management team. That I want a test data management tool where we dump the data. This is exactly replica of your production data or very similar template of the data which we are using in the production. I'm not talking about the customer confidential data. That is against the GDPR. But especially in the European companies that have seen that the GDPR is a very important compliance to use those things. So, but we can just migrate that data, or we can just create those libraries to generate that data. And on top of that, I can create one API. So that will not only help you in manual testing, but help you a lot in automation as well. Instead of writing the static data or maintaining those typical data in the Excel sheet, you can just fetch those TDM APIs, the real-time test management data that you are using it, and inject those data in your script, and then do the testing, automation testing with the real-time data, with the actual data, which is going to be used by the customer in the real-time projects or in the production. That will give you better result or better appropriate data. For example, let's say you're doing a user registration in a specific area in US for any mobile app. But what we do in the lower environment, we just randomly write, let's say, pin code. We randomly write that. But let's say for on the basis of that pin code, there are multiple use cases are there. So instead of writing only 1, 2, 3, 4, why don't you write the specific area code? That area code is becoming your test data over there. So just try to see that how exactly people are using in different states, small region, a small village also, there is a pin code. Use the same data in your test data management tool and do the actual testing with the real-time data. That will give you better results and a better coverage of your test cases.
Excellent. There is a follow-up question, I think, from Nani. He's asking, he or she is asking, I don't know. Sorry. Any tips regarding different ways of creating test data for automation cases with large size, as many tools generating with limited size of data for free version? So, what are your recommendations for large size data?
See, first of all, that large site data in automation again, like in which use case? For example, let's say registration. I want to register a user. So think about, you must have heard about the delta testing approach. If my registration is working fine for the, let's say, one user or five user, it will definitely work fine for the 100 users also. So what is the point of maintaining those heavy 100 user registration files? Unnecessary. Same thing, let's see, typical e-commerce application. If you're searching a term, let's see, in electronics, you're searching for a laptop, let's say MacBook, and you're searching some important 10 to 15 product terms, which is giving you the right results. So we always go with the delta testing approach, that if it is working for these important 15 categories or 15 products, it will definitely work for 50 million products also. So there is
Yes.
no point of maintaining those 50 million data in my test data or in my test files. That is like unnecessary doing the same repetitive work and same repetitive things. So I think you can do some delta testing approach in automation also instead of maintaining those heavy files. But still you want to do it, use the approach for test data management. Create your own web server for the test data management. Create your own test APIs for that. Call that API. Okay, give me all the users. Give me all the user account. Give me all the user order history from Zomato or food delivery app, and then inject the data in automation at the runtime and then run it.
And especially talking about test data, I think it is a right moment for us to give a shout out to our friend Sanjay for
Yeah.
building auto test data, which
Mm.
is an excellent tool that he's come up with. And really love his innovation, his thinking around that, and for coming up with excellent tools such as this. So a big shout out to you, Sanjay. If you're watching, if you're not watching, watch it later, and we can we can have a party. But if you guys haven't tried that tool, give it a shot. I mean,
Yeah,
for generating test data, it is an excellent tool. It helps you a lot and can solve a lot of your problems.
absolutely.
All right, moving further. I'm seeing if there are any other questions that, okay, we spoke about in sprint automation. There is, I guess, a follow up on that. Currently all organizations are expecting in sprint automation testing, including end to end workflow. Can you suggest some input on how we can achieve end to end workflow using in sprint automation?
I think Brajesh is the right person to do that. But if you really want to my opinion, I think again, if they are expecting, so you should also expect something from the management, from the organization, that on what basis we should achieve that. Have you given enough time to me? have you given enough resources or a skill set or the timelines and everything to me? You cannot expect that, okay, magic will happen overnight. In
Yep.
automation, it's a kind of development work. For sometimes for a simple method also, Brijesh, it takes 2 days of time to write that method and to make it generic, to make it bug free. So it's not like just for the sake of doing it, we are doing it. I think that's a wrong expectation from the management also. Without proper implementation and without a generic solution, or a lot of tech debt or maintenance work is still pending, and then you are expecting that in sprint automation, which is a wrong expectation. And that too also including end-to-end flow. Again, automation is not about that just click on the button and everything will be fine. No, it takes time. It takes time to get matured. It takes time to be stable. And then when you run it on a daily basis, it will take time to be, analyze the things, and then we have to fix the problem, and then again we have to run it. It's a kind of development project for you. It's not that, only difference is that you are not moving on the production. The customer is not using it, but you are using it for running your test cases. So I think it takes time. First, you make sure that making your automation is stable, framework is stable, and then when you get the feel, the confidence that okay, yeah, now I can just follow whatever the user stories are coming. Are they really planning that my user story should include or incorporate my automation efforts as well? Is there any automation user story points also have they given or not? If it is not given, then why should I do instant automation? So we should also raise the voice. We should also be vocal about it, right? That why are you expecting something from me that is not practically and physically possible right now?
Yes. Yes. An interesting point I want to make here, and it may actually, rub some salt for a few people, is that the general view that the management has is the way automation should work is, oh, you click a button and it's done. And that's automation for a lot of the management folks, who think of automation that way. What they don't look at is the effort that goes behind in making that possible, that you click a button and it happens. The effort that goes. And a lot of times, and I have said this multiple times and I will repeat it, that instead of solving the customer's problem, teams engaged in automation are solving their own problems. They have
Yeah.
created the problems for their own. They're struggling with building the framework, and that struggle continues. So the result that one should see in terms of automation doesn't come so soon. So then they are not able to realize the dream of achieving in sprint automation. They're already running 3 to 4 sprints late. And another factor that happens in a lot of organizations is that automation is seen as a separate project itself from the
Hmm.
main product development that is happening.
Yeah.
Now, Naveen, I want to get your view and perspective on this. Okay, you mentioned that automation is software development. So, don't you think test automation should always be in line with your product development so that you are automating as you develop your product as well, rather than having it a catch up game? You're trying to catch up after what development has done. What is your thought?
Yeah, absolutely. This is like ultimately it's a testing only, right? You are uh, trying to make sure that okay, by manual efforts, the the kind of work and the time I'm spending on my typical testing without tools, that is taking time. So that's why I introduced test automation. That's how I hired automation resources and everything, and then I try to set up the automation team over there. So if you are if you're not giving the time to them, plus if you're not aligned with the product plan or the product management plan. See, I totally understand that the product management plan is to release the feature as soon as possible in the production. That is absolutely a fair decision. That's fine. But if you really want to introduce automation, at least try to incorporate with the main product plan. If you are expecting automation, add that, okay, yeah, the user story should be part of that, or give dedicated time. Okay, fine, you take 2 weeks of time or 3 weeks of time only for automation, but give me some results. Define your milestones, define your things that okay, yeah, this is what I really want to do. And then you try to be, your next target is that okay, it should be incorporated with the main pipeline, in the main CI/CD pipeline. The moment I push my code, and then automatically it should be triggered. Try to improve your API automation and the UI automation along with the product, the way you are developing the things, and API, more and more API that you're developing, and side by side you're developing your automation also like that. In the moment, okay, these pages are ready, these features are ready, I'm doing browser automation also with Selenium or any XYZ tool. But you should have some time for that. This is what the management also should understand, that if you are expecting immediate results or immediate things, that is not going to happen and that is not going to solve the problems. Then again, it's again back to square. After 6 months, that somebody is going to leave the company. Again, new guy is coming. Again, the new guy is saying, okay, no, I don't like this entire thing. Scrap everything. Let's design everything from the scratch. That's why we say automation is not a successful project for me. It's not helping out. And then again, wrong expectation that 80% automation, 70%, 90%, 100% automation. That is the expectation I have heard from people, from the management, that okay, let's do everything automate. अरे सर ऐसे नहीं होता ना. I cannot do 100% automation, or if you're achieving 30-40% automation also, that is also a big thing for me. And
Yep.
don't focus too much on the automation that you are trying to automate everything. Unnecessary complex, unnecessary lengthy scenarios where a lot of manual interventions are required, avoid that. Go with the happy path or regression scenarios. Get the confidence, okay, yeah, this 30% things are done by automation. The rest of the things I'll do it separately without automation.
Yes, and on this note, I want to just give an example of something said by one of our good friends, Soumya Mukherjee. He
Hmm.
said when he was addressing a group of testers wanting to switch from manual to automation, he
Hmm.
said, "Well, all of us do automation. We don't realize that we actually do it. When we
Hmm.
apply that formula in Excel, when we
Hmm.
write the numbers and drag and put that formula, that is also automation, right?
Correct.
So one has to start looking at it from that positive light to build confidence. And you're absolutely right in saying that if you have achieved 30%, then
Hmm.
use it as a confidence booster rather than saying, oh, only 30%, we were looking at 100%. Oh, so, so that mindset shift is very, very important. Thank you, Naveen, for that response. Now, I want to ask you, since we have got very little time left and we've not had fun. So, have you encountered any funny moments in your automation journey so far? I'm sure there will be a few, but anything that stands out as, "Arey yaar, it makes me laugh every time I think about this." Has there been something like that?
The funny moments are always coming from the management, from my managers. I mean,
I hope nobody is
uh,
listening.
yeah, that's okay, and they know it, and they know it that how particular I was about automation. And one day, like I don't know how to take the names in the company. Also, they suddenly said, "Okay, नवीन क्या तुम मैनुअल टेस्टिंग करते रहते हो यार डेली? क्या तुम इसको मैनुअली कर रहे हो? एक एक काम करो, आज पूरी रात ऑफिस बैठो एंड पूरा ऑटोमेट कर दो उसको बैठ के." I was like,
Okay.
"सर ऐसे नहीं होता है. Wait." So that was those things. So that time I don't know how to answer. I was like, not that experienced also. I was like a fresher, just started the automation things. So now I think, capable enough to, to teach them or to educate them. Okay, no, so this is not the right way of doing the things. So I think that mindset is still there. And whenever I see these things, I take teaching. I mean, I take trainings. I teach people, and they discuss these things. I mean, this is what my manager is expecting. I said this tool does not support that, and how can they expect that, because they are not aware of it, and
Yes.
it looks sometimes funny that, and they have no idea about it, and they're still having a lot of expectation. But my advice to all of you guys, that try to be vocal about it. Try to be, don't listen just so bluntly that just because of he's your manager. Definitely, we should respect that. But something is logically not possible, or something is which a lot of time, a lot of efforts, and you have not that expertise also in that area. Always try to be vocal about it. Try to raise your voice that okay, hey, this is not the way of doing it. And then I think, yeah, I think that, yeah, these are the funny things with respect to automation I used to hear about that.
Absolutely, and there is a very good message in line with what I keep saying. People in positions of management or recruiting, they don't understand testing very well. So the onus and the responsibility is on us testers to educate them about testing, about automation, because we have the right knowledge. And given the right set of data, if you can back your information with data, you can go and convince them if they have a different opinion. So speak up, speak out, and like Naveen said, ask questions, and respond with authority. You have that power.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Naveen. It's been excellent talking to you. Before you go, any last moment advice for the testing community to look forward to in terms of automation and how to grow in terms of automation and how to use it more effectively in testing?
Couple of points, Krish. First of all, first of all, don't worry that Chat GPT or AI is coming, it will kill your job or something like this. Definitely, the scenario slightly might be different. You never know because you cannot take these tools lightly. And I'm not saying these tools are having the human intelligence. Definitely, it cannot. Nothing can replace testing, or nothing can replace a tester. But the kind of smart work, if you're really adopting these tools, that will be really beneficial for you instead of having those trauma later in future that okay, no, what happened suddenly, and then again I'm totally lacking my skills, and then I'm not able to grab those things. That is the first thing. Try to adopt these tools. Try to learn more and more technical things, and improve your testing knowledge. That plays very important role because I will always prefer a guy who is actually really good in the testing craft and testing mindset and testing activities, the kind of testing work that he does instead of doing automation. Automation, anyone can do that. For me, hardly, I know how to teach automation. For me, hardly it will take 1 week of time to teach you automation and then you will be productive. But that mindset, that the kind of skills that you're having, that, the extra flavor that you are having with the testing mindset, that plays important thing. One advice, we are fighting on social media that defining the terminology for that and this and that. I think we have better challenges and better problems to solve in testing, and some really good things are happening, around the testing world. Instead of always debating about the same thing, better we educate people in a better way in terms of more testing activities and testing processes and test automation or other things or new aspects of the testing. That plays a very important role as an influencer also. Not like only, what is the right definition of testing or manual versus automation and all those keywords. I think we should, grow up now. I think if those things are done, wo ho gaya, like why to discuss and debate all the time about it. I know 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. I know my basics are good. I know my testing basics are good. Let me move on now. Okay, so I think that should be, according to me, it's 2023. Still, we are talking about those terminologies or typical things. I think we should get rid of it.
Thank you so much, Naveen, for that wonderful advice. I think the last bit was very important. Debates on terminologies, the very basic stuff that people, a lot of influencers have been teaching, that needs to go away because it's time to move on from the basics and get a
Correct.
little deeper into technology. For example, you spoke earlier, very early, understanding what Selenium 4 brings in. Selenium, but understanding what Selenium 4 brings in, or what are the discussions around Selenium 5, understanding that will help you solve better challenges, solve bigger challenges, and that will make you a much more robust tester, if not anything else. I could not find a better word. A much more technically adept tester, and that's what is the need of the hour. Thank you so much, Naveen.
But
You
Brijesh,
have
I'll take just only two
please,
minutes. I really want to know
please, please, please,
perspective
please
about
go
you.
ahead. Please.
So, what we call about, let's see, for manual testing, and I know that we had a lot of discussion about nothing called manual testing, and we had our own perspective and debates,
Yes,
and
yes,
we have
yes,
our own rational thoughts about it.
yes.
But now I see a new term. Manual represents a labor work. Manual means a labor work. So, what do you relate these things? Are we really like? Is it really good practice or good things to compare with the labor thing or workers are doing, and this is how the manual testers are discrimination and then getting less pay because of this manual work? Because I never heard these things in my entire career. I think I got the package, or my other colleagues or my students are getting the package because of the skills, not because of the keyword or the positions.
Well, okay, so that's a very interesting question. Now, I was not expecting to be put on the spot like this, but but there is a stigma associated with manual testing, but I think, like you said, it's time to move on from that stigma. Okay, there are certain pockets where still that discrimination happens, but if you look at it, it is primarily based on the skills that you have as a tester.
Mhm.
Now, as a tester, if you are, let's say, for the sake of this discussion, if you are even manually testing, but if you have expertise in doing something like, UI testing, or have expertise in doing user experience testing, which entails a lot more. For example, not just UI or accessibility. Okay, you are digging a lot more information. Uh,
Correct.
you have an understanding of the product domain. You have an understanding of the business. You have an understanding of the user persona, user behavior, and are able to generate and build tests on that. That will give you value. So, you are not stuck on that word. People will not be fixated that you are still
Hmm.
doing it without the use of tools. Oh, so you are a manual tester. People will look at your domain knowledge. People will look at your skill set. And it is, like you said, it is a lot to do with skills, not to do
Correct.
with a particular terminology. Okay. And that's why, whenever I have advocated, I said, okay, you are talking about it, don't talk about it. Talk about segregation in terms of skills. If you really want
Exactly.
to segregate testers testing, do it in terms of the skills that you have. Call yourself as Make yourself as a specialist in one particular area. If you think you don't like automation, there are some people like that. Okay, or they don't have the knack for it. Fine. Increase your domain expertise. Can you say at the end of spending 5 years with a healthcare project that you are a healthcare testing expert? Okay, if
Exactly.
you can say that, then that has got a big market value. And I can give you an example. There was a guy I was working with recently, very recently. He had only 3 years experience, and he was a supply chain expert. And because of his knowledge in supply chain, not because of any automation knowledge or any tools knowledge specifically, because of his knowledge in supply chain, he got a package which is three times his existing package. Three times,
Exactly.
a 300% hike. So, so was there a way for me to hold him? No. As a hiring manager, I was happy for him that, purely on his knowledge, purely on his skill set, because he had gone deeper. He had understood how supply chain works. Okay, he had understood the nuances. He had understood, okay, these are the tools in the market which we are using with regards to supply chain, whether it is Salesforce or whether it is SAP, and how these work and how I can test and how I can bring value. Okay, what is the kind of research that is happening in terms of automation? So he started learning about automation. He had not
Correct.
learned, he started learning. And when the potential employer saw that, he said, okay, this is the guy who's going to solve problems for me. So it relates to a lot of answers that you previously gave. When people recruit, they recruit it from that angle. So yeah. So going back to your question, stop fighting about the manual automation thing. Uh, it's time to rise up. Okay. Yes, there is a stigma in the society, but if you focus on dirt, you will focus on dirt only. You will not focus on cleaning, right? So
Exactly.
focus more on the clean part of it. Then you will be able to clean that dirt also. Okay.
Exactly.
The dirt will go away if you start focusing on the clean part. Focus on the clean part, learn the skills, build your potential as a tester, build yourself, and move on.
Absolutely. Like,
But yeah,
thank you so much, Rish, for highlighting
but
this.
yeah, if you want to ask me, do I still support that hashtag? Yes, I do.
Yeah, that's absolutely good. So testing is testing with tool or without tools. Testing is
Yes,
end of the day is always a
yes,
testing.
yes.
That's nothing called manual testing is again, I support that and it's absolutely totally agree with that. But what I prefer that in the industry these days, everyone is smart enough. I don't
Yes,
think so
Naveen,
that
I just want to add one more point. I just want to add one more point. Okay,
yeah, yeah,
you and I had a good chat about nothing called manual testing when I had written that post long back 3 years ago. And what I felt was that you were one of the first people to understand why that hashtag was floated first. Okay, and then you said you put across your perspective, and you had the same perspective what you mentioned now, that we should focus on the skills and not on terminology. And I absolutely love that point. Having said that, a lot of these discussions, when they're happening or when people are trying to float, now there was a recent post where very funny alternatives were given for manual testing. You know which post I'm talking about, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
so that made me laugh as well. Okay, and I was like, what is going on? People are not understanding the ethos, and they're just simply going on about it. The point is, focus on the skills, Testing is there. Expand your testing knowledge. And like you have, I don't know how many times you emphasized on this in today's discussion. Whether it is hiring, whether it is automation, I think for every answer you said, focus on testing, be a better tester, understand domain, understand technology, understand why something is done. For example, if you want to adopt Selenium 4, understand why those changes have been made. Okay, and then it will be
Absolutely.
easy for you to understand why those libraries were created, first of all, for in Selenium 4 and what is going to happen in Selenium 5. Just give you an example. So that is also testing, right? You're learning more about things. You're asking questions, So that's what I
Exactly.
want to add.
And absolutely agree with you because what we say that when we just running behind the terminologies or the designations that why to call, we should call now interactive testing or those blah 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 testing. I think people are matured enough nowadays. People understand that what exactly they are looking for. I'm not saying that discrimination is not happening, but I think it's very much reduced. And the candidate and the employee also is very smart, and the professional is also very smart enough that I have to focus upon the skill set. And let's say you are an automation guy and you are lacking in the automation guy, I mean, in the automation skills, then definitely that discrimination will happen with you also in that case.
Yes,
So it's not about only with the manual tester or good package will be given to the automation just because of you have added. I absolutely agree with you. You are a tester with the good domain knowledge and the good technical expertise will be very much high in the demanding in the market. Testing is a testing ultimately, and you are a tester end of the day. So that's, I think, absolutely agree with you on this point that expertise and the domain knowledge is very much required in that thing.
and learn coding, guys. Learn coding. You will be amazed to see what value you are bringing into your testing. If you are skeptical that it is not going to happen, initially you will encounter maybe 100 errors on your screen that may bring down your confidence. Oh my god, I can't write, I don't understand logic. No, that is not the case. We are all logical creatures. Human beings are logical creatures, so we understand logic very well. Let me tell you this. Write write code. You may falter. Talk to the experts, talk to developers, talk to people who understand code. They will help you. And slowly, when you
Exactly.
start seeing the number of errors on your screen decreasing and the reds turning into greens, you'll be very happy, and you will be amazed to see the power of coding. Okay, amazed to see the power of automation. Learn that. Okay, there is no two ways about it. It is something that you need. It is something that is changing the world. Chat GPT or whatever is all automation at the end of the day.
Exactly.
So things will change, whether you're talking about IoT integration or any deep tech. There is a lot of code involved. Learn coding. When you talk about low code, no code also, you'll be surprised to hear that there is a lot of code which is happening in the background.
Exactly.
So, so yes,
Exactly. Because you're not going to use low code for next 10 years. What if after 10 years I'm expecting that using your expertise and then why don't you develop an automation tool for me?
correct.
Or some library for me and then
Correct.
but you are no, I'm not coming from that background. I never learned coding in my career. I still want to do those typical writing the test cases and developing the test strategy document and everything. Fine, I know that you are expert in that case, but I really want to utilize your 15 years of experience. Then
Right.
on what basis I should I should use your expertise, right? So I think raise the bar high for the testers. That plays very important role in your career. Good package, good compensation, and definitely the security and the stability in the market.
Yes. And on that note, I also want to give you, Naveen, Mukesh, and Sanjay, a big shout out for the RTP series, the
Thank
Rave
you.
Test Party series. That's excellent initiative. I have narrowly missed a couple of them because I was in India when you guys were planning something, and you were in Pune when I was not, so I missed it. But next time, hopefully, I'll catch up with you guys on one of the RTPs. It'll be fun to watch. You guys are next going to be in Hyderabad, I think on the 5th of May, if I'm not
6
wrong.
6 May Saturday in
6th May
Hyderabad
Saturday,
fine.
yes.
Yeah.
So guys, make a note of that date. If you're in Hyderabad, then do catch up. This is an excellent opportunity to meet these guys. They've done four wonderful RTPs so far. This is the fifth one. And I am sure now testers in Chennai are also looking forward to you guys. So you guys
Yes, yes,
need to
yes.
start thinking about it already. If you're not, well, so start thinking about it. So excellent initiative, Naveen. I mean, you guys are bringing the testers together, doing these offline conversations. Online you've done a lot. Your videos are there, all three of you. But offline, when you're meeting people in person, it gives you that extra warmth. Where I took the opportunity of doing a personal RTP when I met Naveen, Mukesh, and Sanjay in July last year, along along with Pradeep. So I can say that I have done a little mini RTP. Okay, but that was excellent. So meeting in person is great. Don't
Yeah.
miss this opportunity. If you have not signed up for the Hyderabad RTP, do sign up. Go and meet these guys and have lots of fun.
Thank you. Yeah, we are looking forward to meet people and feel free to connect me on LinkedIn, guys, and any issues, any questions. We all are there in the test chat Telegram group, my Telegram group, and then just feel free to discuss about, share your knowledge, write your blogs, share your repositories with us, and looking forward to that. And once again, Brijesh, thank you so much for inviting. I think after a long time, I think we had this and so refreshing. Uh, nice, nice, really a great conversation with you all.
I am so glad, Naveen, that we could make this happen. We had been talking about it for I don't know how
Yeah,
many months. Then my health was a concern, but then you were patient enough to be around, hang around. Then you had some challenges with your schedules as well, as you were running very busy, but we made it possible. We will continue doing this. Thank you, Naveen, for always supporting the test chat community. If you guys are new to the test chat community, do subscribe to our our YouTube channel. There is a lot of fun content. You can watch some of the older content from Naveen as well. Naveen has been a frequent guest on our channel, so he's there. Mukesh's content is there. We had some fun conversations. You also can be a part of those fun conversations, because I am starting the Tester Speak series back soon. Season 3 was abruptly cut short because of my health issues. Season 4 is going to be back soon. So I look forward to talking to you guys. And if I know you must have subscribed, but if you still haven't subscribed to Naveen's YouTube channel, do that. Okay, because it is a gold mine of information, guys. It is a gold mine.
thank you.
Okay, I discovered it in 2017, and for 6 years now, it has been my go-to source for a lot of answers. So thank you, Naveen. Thank you for
Thank
being
you.
a great guest, a wonderful teacher, and a brother, and for everything that you've done for the community. Thank you so much.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you, buddy.
See
Okay, guys, take care. I'll see you then. Bye bye.
see you. Bye.